This is today's live on Equa Television International. We're so glad that you could join us on today's edition of the program. It is Thursday, and we're talking about education. We're talking about enlightenment, and you cannot afford to stay stagnated. You need to grow. You need to explore. I mean, everything positive so that you can grow and become better. So Monday we talked about work. Tuesday we looked at life. Yesterday we talked about relationship, heartbreak, and I hope that you have wiped that tears and have moved on with life. And today we're looking at individual values. You know, when you have values, when you stand for something, when there's something that guides your behavior, something that guides your choices, something that guides like your day-to-day life, you will not be carried away by everything that just comes your way. So today we're talking about individual values, and my name is Joyce Jakad. I'm an individual. I also have Sambo Solomon Sabe, Jemima Emmanuel, Prudence Burger. You thought because I did not. I saw the shock on your face. Like, did you not see me here? Did you not see me here? I saw you. We reserved the best for the last.
Yeah.
So
Good morning.
Good morning. Good to have you all here.
Same here.
It's a cold morning here in the city of
Exactly.
Jos, but it looks like I'm the only one that is cold right here.
No, you are not.
Sambo Solomon looks hotter than fire.
Some of us are just carrying ticks for every weather.
Okay. All right, let's talk about individual values. Like when you talk about values in itself, you're talking about the significance. You're looking at the worth that people place on themselves. Like you're talking about when you move to individual values, you're looking at the principles, the core beliefs that, like those guidelines that shape your decisions, that shape your relationship, and even your choices. So I would like us to establish how important is like individual values, because I hear some people, when you ask them, there are people that when you ask them about their choices or their relationship, like what influenced your choice of this career path, what influenced your choice of this friendship, this relationship, we just met and it just happened. So is value that important? Is individual value, like, why does it matter? Or should people just live their life and let life happen?
Well, individual values matter because it gives you a direction to where you're going to. You cannot be confused about where you're headed. Even if you don't know where you're coming from, at least it is right that you know where you're going to. So having your own values do not make you to easily be swept away by anything that comes up. We are in a world where trends keep coming up every day. If you feel like you've seen the latest trend, then tomorrow another one will drop. So when you have a value, it is termed individual values because it differs from person to person. Just like I am different, Prudence's values are different as well. So it is important so that it gives you a direction. It gives you a focus. It gives you an idea of where you're going to. You may not have the total blueprint of what it looks like at the end, but you're sure of the present. And to an extent, some length of the future, you're sure of it because it has shaped you. It has made you who you are at the point that you are. Individual values can change over time because when you grow and realize that, okay, the values I've been holding on to all these years are actually not the real thing, you embrace newer ones. So values change, values are added, values are upgraded. Probably you were holding on to half baked bread. Now you know the full one and you have accepted it. So people get matured, people get learn better, and then they add to their values and become who they are. If you really don't have value, then I would say that you don't even know why you're existing in the first place. You don't even have an identity, because if I see someone's value working for him, I tend to want to tilt towards that person. If I see another person's, I am practically a confused person. So if you have values, it gives you a sense of ownership of yourself and then a sense of wanting to learn and become a better version of yourself. So it's really important.
You know, you touch on a very key area. that's values changing. Because in fact, I had a question on that. You know, some people, you grew up as a child in a home, in an environment, and that's shape what you grew up seeing. Like you adopted that value as well. But as time goes on, you're now exposed to knowledge, to life, and your experience, perhaps, or like, no, this thing I've been holding on to, actually, it's no wonder the lines that my grandparent, my parents have been touring. I think with this knowledge, I can adjust my values. Because somebody will be asking out there, can values change? Because some people think these things are statics. I can never go against my value. I've had people say that. But of course, for you to come to that point of even saying I can never, you have already believed, like you are now informed and you have hold on to this. But of course it changed, and I like that angle.
You see, when you talk about values, definitely you have to talk about purpose. Yes, because it values guide you to who you want to become. Because it's just you building a house, and then you ask yourself, why are you building the house in the first place? Yes. Why are you building the house? First, you are looking for a shelter. Second, keep your valuables, right? To protect your valuables. Because once you build a house, definitely there will be
Lock.
there will be lock, you know, there will be window. All of those things, you are trying to put them so that it will protect the evil. Let me use that word, you know, that will come in order to destroy something in the house, either to harm you or to pick something in the house. And then that's why when you build the house, you have lock. You're just trying to guide those valuables that are there. You can't just leave them in an open place. So the first question, you know, values are very important if truly you know your purpose and you want to reach your destination. And that is why it's very important you follow those values, you know, with all manner of seriousness. Because like you mentioned earlier, it helps you to see how, let's say, Joyce want to become a military personnel. You want to become a journalist. She want to become a bricklayer, right? And then me, I'm just there. Now the three of you, I'm confused. I want to become a bricklayer. I want to become a journalist. I want to become a military personnel. It informs someone that watches me that I don't really know who I am and what I want. It starts from there. So, but when you know your purpose, you know where you're coming from, you know where you're going, it helps you, you know, to go with those values to help you reach there. Because you can't just be open and then today and with prudence I will start and stop somewhere. Tomorrow and with Jemima I will start and stop somewhere. At the end of the day, age is not on my side. Strength is not on my side. Probably I'm winding up some things that probably maybe I would have achieved when I was much, much younger is no longer there. So at the end of the day, you find out you end up regretting your life because you just live your life carelessly. And you see, when you put value for yourself, there's a way people see you. It's either people see you like you are a serious person. The serious-minded people they will say, yes, this guy has focus. Or this lady, she has focus in her life. Because the way she's going is because of the values that you place on yourself and the way you are going, how to achieve your goals in life. People will say that. But some people will just say you are too rigid. You are too rigid. Yes, some people can be rigid because they will tell you these are things that they hold on to. These are their values. It can't be changed. It can't be bent. Once you see people like that, you know that they are not open to knowledge. And then values will lead you to growth. Once you are stagnant, it makes sure you don't have an open heart. That means whatever you are holding on, it will just be a yardstick of something that you are thinking. That's the ultimate. So that means your mind is blocked. But when you are open-minded, it shows that everything in life can be shaped. That comes to the issue of growth. Growth will come with you knowing that today, like, you can take milk, like the Bible says, but now you are an adult. You are not expected to take milk. Of course, you are expected to chew bone, right? So even the Bible addressed that, because you are expected. Once you are growing, things are changing, things are taking shape. There are some people that will tell you that, like today we were just with someone. He was telling us that he stayed 4 years with a neighbor. He has never entered his room for once. And the same with the other neighbor. And then the wife gave birth. His wife, our own normal setting here, the people in the area are the ones even to come and birth the child. People are happy around you and stuff. People could not even enter the room because they will block you by just the door. And then to a point that they lost somebody, even the neighbors don't even know who is the relation. Is it close or far relation? They cry in the room, nobody enter. Even the people with the same, their neighbor that they are coming, they are from the same tribe, could not enter. So you see the mindset that those people have. You can imagine he has children, the family. So you can imagine the nature of how these children will grow up, because they will think this is just the standard, this is the value that they will hold on to. But is it the ultimate? No. What is the Bible saying concerning your neighbor? You understand? Tomorrow you will not see that the children cannot relate with people because they feel this is just the ultimate. But values changes. Once growing, and then they begin to meet people, and they begin to see that, no, life is not like that. At least you can relate with your neighbor. Tomorrow your help can come from your neighbor. And then, from there, the person will start adjusting. But it's not easy. Value cannot be value cannot be overemphasized. I was reading something because of the value that someone placed on himself. He's a footballer. A country is looking for him with a blank check. Blank check, blank check.
To feel whatever he
to
wants.
feel whatever
He wants to be paid.
and give the condition of how he wants to stay in that particular country, just to play for that country for just one football season. You can imagine, see what value can do to someone's life. And it is something that this guy have built over time. When other of the same cadre, the same whatever, are sleeping, are relaxing, he's having extra 5 to 6 hours training. Different kind of training, building himself. Now this is the level that the person have reached in life. There was a time they were playing. All celebrities, almost all celebrities that you know, from basketball, from music, name them, they went to watch the guy. The richest man in the world asked, who is this? What is really happening that everybody is traveling this place? They said they are going to watch a particular person that their club are playing a particular final. And then he said, he's not talking about the club that the guy is playing, but he's talking about he wants to buy the guy that is playing for that club because of the value of the guy. So when you talk about value is not something that you
contemplate having. Should I have? Should I not have?
It's a necessity.
It's a necessity. It's an ingredient that you can't do away with. Just like you are cooking and you are talking like there is no salt. It is a necessity. Whatever you can do
To have.
to carve, to create that value for yourself. I think if you can pull
But
the
do Gen Zs have values?
Wow.
Here
It's a question now. It's not. I didn't conclude. Now I just asked a question.
is the question that
Wow, is the
lacks-
question that
Do Gen Zs
the table
have
doesn't have one
values?
leg.
no, but because it's true. I love this question because if you see how the Gen Zs are going, sometimes you wonder and you ask yourself.
The right question should even be: do they know about value?
wow, just wow. I can't even.
Then we now move
It's
to
just
if
a
they have
question.
it.
Don't take it
Here's
personal.
the thing, right? I find it. I don't know. Maybe I just have a little, maybe not different, but this is how I look at values, right? It's basic principles that you live your life alongside with, things that you hold of importance to you, right?
Mhm.
And so you ask if the generation Z
Mm.
have any form of principles of value. Yes, they do. In fact, I find that a lot of them have values. It's just that we cannot relate. Not everybody can relate to their values.
Mm.
It seems like their value system is absolutely different from other people's value system. And because our value systems don't align, there would definitely be clashes.
Clash.
And so that's where the whole issue of people having issues with Gen Zs are. For a Gen Z, what he values is that he or she comes out dressed nicely and beautifully that suits himself. It's a value for him. Looking good is a value to that person. Talking well to people is a value to this person. Listening to music is a value to the person. So it all boils down to what exactly the person has.
24 hours on phone is a value to the person.
24 hours on phone, sometimes they're actually doing something reasonable. So you cannot just conclude because their whole life is basically tilted to the internet. They work from the comfort of their phones. They chat with people, comfort of their phones, and everything. It's like their whole life has moved from physical living to the social media.
But
So you
99
cannot
others of
absolutely
them are doing negative on
You
the phone.
cannot absolutely blame them. You cannot absolutely blame them. So I'm just thinking that it's not something that you can just narrow down to the fact that they're always on their phone. Some of them are listening to podcasts and trying to better themselves. So they're always
They
on
are
their
most
phone.
prudence. They are mostly affected when it comes to this generational shift and conflicts between values. And so how do you think that can be handled? Because if we're talking about individual values, it means it differs. There's tendency that it can differ,
Yes.
and we even have it like
it's different.
now talking
Absolutely.
about
In fact,
Jemima
on
just
this set,
mentioned.
we have different values.
Of course. So Jemima just pointed to phones, for example. I mean, our generation, when we are with older people, they are talking to you, you should not be on your phone, and like that. It's not acceptable for them that you stay with phone from morning, regardless of what you're doing. They feel that you should take your bath, you should do chores in the house, you should go out, you should come back, but it's awkward that they see your life revolving around the phone. They find it so irritating to see that you are destabilized if there is no power supply, if your battery is low. Like they feel that you have lost out on morals, like the moral values that guides like communal living, work, and all of that. So if there is that conflict, how do you navigate it?
So this is quite interesting because close to the close of last year, we had this kind of discussion in church, and this person was explaining that there's a shift in value systems because this generation thinks that this is more value, and some of them actually think that morals are archaic. And so they're shifting their own morals. What do they see as moral? Some of them can just literally think that if you're just passing someone and you say hi, it's moral. But for the person that you're highing, it's probably disrespectful. And so there is a bridge in values. These people take their values like, I don't disregard what you have to say. I don't I don't blame you for thinking the way you think. So just leave me to think the way I think. That is respect. Right? That's how some people have, that's the value some people have put to respect. So even in the scenario of respect, there's differences. And so you have differentiation between the two.
While for some people it is compromise, that is respect.
Yes.
For another person is standing on your ground and
that is respect.
allow me be on my lane.
Exactly. So you, when you have this clash, it is one of two things. Is that the two parties have to come to an understanding to actually get that this is why this person behaves this way and this is why this person behaves this way. So you know that you're able to draw that line where you don't cross each other. So he was talking about one of the speakers in the discussion we were having said something like this. He said, for him and his mother, his whole life, everything of his is either on his phone or on his computer. And so even when he's sitting down at home, he's on his computer or his phone. And she cannot understand why her son does not move out of the house, and then tomorrow he'll tell her that he has money. Where is he getting the money from? She thinks that he's just going out to do Yahoo business, right? And so she already automatically thinks that whatever he's doing in that his room is terrible. And so he thought that his mother is being paranoid. But he got to a point that he had to say to himself, let's bridge a little bit of this gap, right? He came, bought her his smartphone and said, okay, so mom, this is what I do. This is it, and this is that. And so he tried to explain that this is what I'm doing. This is how I do it. This is the kind of work, and this is what it entails. And that is why you would find me using this much hours on my phone or on my system. And so she understood. Now, if she sees him in the room, she has an inkling of, okay, this is probably what he's doing. And so she's no longer as irritated as she was before. At that point, they've bridged a little bit of that gap. Would she completely grasp what his value system is? No, she wouldn't. But she has an idea of what it is. So it is just like that if you know that what you value is the right thing, and that right thing is something that would be better, will make your life better, it is very important that the people that are relevant in your life, you should make them understand, even if it is just a little bit.
Okay.
See, for instance, he spoke about football, and I'm about to touch that again. And so there's this football star who a lot of other footballers will tell you that if he invites you for a lunch, it's either you say you would not go or prepare your mind to eat whatever he brings to your table, because he's on a strict diet. A strict diet is part of his value system. And because of that, he would not even tempt himself with something else. And so even if he invites you, you have it conditioned in your mind that I'm going to see this kind of meal and that kind of meal. So let me prepare my mind. This is what I'll eat.
I saw a post that the worst kind of hunger you experience is when you go to rich people's house. rich people's house. That those people, they don't cook food, and even when they cook the tea, like it's under the cup, and that the worst part of it is that you cannot find any akara person. Yeah, so this Christmas, don't even plan on going to any rich relative. Stay in your house, because if hunger fire you DSF, there's nobody outside. Even when you see the closest place that you can buy food, you hear that a plate is 10,000. So save yourself all of that.
So you see, that's the whole thing about value system. It differs with the even your community affects your value system. Your family, the family you grow up in, affect your value system. I think if there is one thing, maybe because my mom always rings it in my mind, I've told a lot of people that if there's one thing I cannot compromise about, is heavy makeup, because it's like, for me, it is something that it's a no-go. Don't do it. Is it something wrong? No. But that's my value. That's what I value. I value myself not having a whole lot of things on my face. And so if it bothers somebody else,
still look pretty.
Thank you very much. If it bothers someone, it is my value. It is what I chose. It is how I decided to live my life. So value is what is actually important to you, what you have placed a whole lot of value on, what you have placed importance on. So you say, at the end of the day, do you have wrong values? Absolutely right. When you mentioned whether Gen Zs have values, yes. Do they have wrong values? Yes. Do they also have good values? Some do. So you cannot just rule out just because someone is not working the way you envision. Automatically, it means the person does not have values. No.
All right, talking about heavy makeup, I like that example because that has been in my mind, talking about how people compromise on their value system. I'd like to ask Jemima. I mean, I've had a lot of people say, let's just do it for the sake of peace, for peace to reign. I've heard young ladies say, since he wants the sex, let me just do it. Even though it's against her values, even though it's also against his values now, but it looks like she's saying, since I'm not having sex with her, it means I'm sleeping with other girls. Or if I don't give him my body, that means I don't love him. That's the proof of the love. Though I know as a youth fellowship member, I'm not supposed to, or because of my faith, or as a young lady that I'm not supposed to do it, but let me just do it to please. Like
Or
Prudence
being
said,
raised from a decent home.
do you understand? I'm being added to a bridal train and everybody's doing makeup. Let it not look as if I cannot afford it. So let me do it as well. Like you hear people say that, it's not a one-time thing. Let me just do it. Let's just do it and pass this place. So is value something that people should compromise on? Because earlier I gave the example of going to how they call it rich people's house, that you will never eat and get satisfied. For them, it's value system. You don't eat above this. Like this is the quantity you can go. For them, they feel it's unhealthy. But you are in your village and you can eat a drum of food.
3 people's food.
Do you
only.
understand it? Nobody cares. Instead, they will say, let the child be full. But these people, because of their exposure to knowledge and certain information, they feel that it's detrimental to your health. If you're taking wine, it should be beneath the glass. But you are saying, is it not wine? It should be in a keg. Let me finish it. So for them also is a value
Especially that
system.
you will see wine again till
Do you
another year.
understand? For some people, once it's 6, they don't eat.
Yeah.
So if you come visiting their house and then you're expecting that because you ate at 6, at 10 you should eat again. I mean, so they don't compromise on that. They lock the kitchen. In fact, nobody goes. There are parents that will tell you they will tell their child that, or their children, nobody enters my kitchen at this point. Nobody opens my pot. Like she finished cooking soup, or like there are a lot of. So is value something that people should compromise on, especially those that are saying, let me just do it for peace to reign. An accountant aiding theft in an organization because the boss asked that and sign this document. It's not like he does not know that it's wrong. But Tunda Hakane answer, but since that's how they have been doing it, let's just do it and pass that place. Should people compromise on their value?
No.
So there are
People
no conditions that people can let's just do it for peace to reign.
Except you were not convinced from the beginning about that value. But you should not compromise your value for anything, for anybody. Value should not be compromised. If you are not sure about that value, then maybe you can step back and have a rethink, resurvey, just redo the whole thing. But if you are sure from day one, there are certain values that from the day you took that oath about the value, you never shook. Those kind of values, you are sure of them. Things like that, nobody should make you change your mind. I know people that others will talk about it like mockery, like this one, he will not change it, don't bother. But that is how people should know you for. Nobody should even come close to you with a particular thing, because they already know it's like a banner over your head that I will not change for any reason. I have seen people even in businesses, I have seen people even at work, I have seen people even in the marketplaces. They would stick to doing things even if for a day they will not have one customer. Even if for the whole week they will not have one customer, they would continue to do that. And guess what? A time will come that their shop will no longer contain the customers that will come for them because of their values. When the Bible talked about seeing a man that is diligent in his work, it's the value. He keeps putting in the value. And when that time comes, even if where he is located has no road, people would trek and go there because of the value that he is given. Somebody would cross 99 cities just to come to where you are to get what you want because of the value that you have. So I would say again that value should not be compromised no matter what. People should even know that they cannot even come to you to compromise, so nobody would even approach you. But if you're not sure of it, I think you should really resurvey.
Because people will tell you, I put
stand
this
your
price,
ground.
but they are not buying it. For example, people that do business. And it's like, these people like cheap things, so let's reduce the
No.
quantity, or let's compromise on the standard.
It simply means those people are not your customers.
Okay.
I also think that values are not things that you should compromise. In fact, okay, so earlier you mentioned that values change. That is not even the same thing as compromising. It is that you are still convinced that this is the right thing to do, but because somebody else is telling you not to do it, or somebody else is telling you do something contrary to that value, and then you say, let me just do it.
I have
for the
succumbed
sake
to
of
pressure.
People even
I
make
succumb
posts
to
with
pressure.
it. People do
Yes.
memes with that now.
So
I have
you
succumbed to
can't-
pressure.
You can't run your life like that. The scriptures were very vivid when they said that you should study so that you would not be tossed around by every wind of doctrine. Why did the scriptures have to go through that? Have to go to that extent? Because they know, the Holy Spirit also knows, and everybody is aware that your value would be attacked. Your value would be pressured.
Questioned.
It will be questioned. For
It will
you
be
to
challenged.
actually, it will be challenged. For you to actually stand the test of time, the test of fire, it is that you are able to withstand and still stay focused on that value.
And someone is just trying to see if you
She
will
would
shake.
compromise
Yes.
her values. Someone has met me before and was asking me of a lot of things, and I said, I'm not about to do that. Then he said, are you a pastor's kid? And I said, yes.
Is that supposed to be the standard?
no, let me explain. And I said, yes. Then he said, Ekwa pastor. And I said, yes. He said, okay, now I understand. And I said, why did you say that? That because we are stubborn on things that we believe are the right things to do. You find it very hard that person would relent, because over time that stubbornness of your value is inbuilt. You have, because this is my value system, there is nothing that will shake me, except if I get to understand that there is a different thing entirely that makes what I am doing absolutely wrong. And that is when I would change. But if there's nothing that is convincing me that it is wrong, I'm still on my track. I'm not shaking, I'm not wavering. It is one notion that we need to hold on to. Principles, values, purpose. There are three things that go hand in hand. They work together.
You can't keep one aside.
Exactly. If you know your principles, you know your values, you would keep them, you would stay focused. That's one thing about value.
So what do
Value
you do?
helps you stay focused. So I think that it is one of two things. If for any reason you are questioning your values, go back and
Check.
think through. Check out exactly whether this thing that I prioritize is the right thing to prioritize or not. And when you are convinced that it is the right thing, don't let anything hinder you from working with it. It's not an easy feat. It's not something that you can just say is a walk in a park. No. It is something that it requires discipline. And that's another thing about values. It requires discipline. So you have to discipline yourself. When the scripture said, spare the rod and spoil the child, it did not really mean anything as far as it means put in wisdom into your child from childhood. So when he grows, nothing will change you. These values that you have put in place, you have taught your child from childhood, would continuously be with that child, even when he similarly sees something that looks glamorous. He might try to test the waters, but he will still come back on track because he already knows that this is my value system. So that's one thing. It keeps you focused. So even when you derail, you're able to find yourself back on track.
And I think you also need to know that deciding on a value is the easy part. Sticking to the value, standing on the value is the hard part, especially when you're faced with challenges, when you're faced with confrontation and questioning gazes and looks and talks. So deciding on the value is really easy. Everybody can just sit down and write down and
It's just
say,
like
this-
New Year resolution.
Exactly. But it is when it is time to keep it, when it is time for you to defend it, when it is time for you to stand by it, that is when you begin to see people getting shaky. Joseph, when he was deciding, he was standing for purity. He didn't know that a rich man's wife will be pulling at his clothes. So a lot of people fail at that point. When you pull and pull, eventually you'll be like, well, if I agree,
no.
money will come and I will clean my mouth and go. So really sticking to it, standing by it is where the issue is. So while deciding, you should have that at the back of your mind and know that it will become hard.
All right. So, Mr. Solo,
Yes.
in a situation where you have values, you have defined them, but they are being challenged. For example, let me use the work environment. You have told yourself that I will not lie, I will not steal, I will not be found being dishonest, I will not compromise on diligence, and anything that has to do with physical fights, blows. No, like I will not be found doing that. And then you work with people that oftentimes challenge that. For example, somebody wakes up and say, today, Sambo Solomon, I'm going to, me, I don't have shame. Even if we fight, we tear our clothes, it does not concern me. I'm shameless. We must. Like, you find people challenging you, or you are in a situation where your superior, your boss is asking you to do something that is contrary to your value. Now, of course, you can imagine how tight that corner can actually be. So what do you do where people compromise? You work in an environment where people that feel on responsibility, nothing is being done. You that is adhering to laws, nothing is being done. You're not being appreciated. You're not, like, nobody sees your effort. What do you do in such
So you're being
situations?
seen as the fool.
Do you understand? You see, like, everybody sees you as be there, and you actually see people that are faulting, like being awarded. In fact, at the end of the day, somebody that comes late, he's been like awarded one way or the other. Somebody that does not deliver on responsibility, someone that's not even diligent, but you always see that they are the ones that are being carried along. How do you do now practically in such situation? You have values that you don't want to compromise on.
Well, it's not an easy thing. You know, like Prudence said earlier, and then Jemima still emphasized that it's just something that you will write and say, these are my values, this is something that I really want to hold on to and protect. You know, it's not easy. Like you rightly said, it's a tight corner. But you see, in this journey of life, we have two forces, negative and positive, good and evil. They are the ones that rule the world, and you must choose one path. If you choose the path of being good, it doesn't mean that you are righteous. You are perfect, right? It doesn't mean that you are perfect. All Christians were righteous, but through Christ. It's through his righteousness, right? That's the reason why we always work real hard. We always work hard of becoming, you understand, like him, because it's through him that we can do all the things that he said we can do. Outside him is something different. So you see, what I'm trying to say, once you are on the good side, the negative forces will always challenge you, will always fight you beyond your even imagination. That is why in some cases you will find yourself in those tight corners, because if it's not tight, that means you are not being tried. Yes, if it's something that is casual, it's something that you can jump and pass. But the real trial of your values is when you are in a tight corner. That is when they say they know really who are you when nobody is watching you. Because there you can't find pretense, because you can't pretend to yourself. It's yourself to yourself. So the real who you are, your character, will manifest when you are alone. That's when some people will exhibit whatever they want to do when they are far away from where they are being known. You understand? So I want to say that you will be tried. You will be pressured, because people have to test that your
Value.
They will test it, because already people are designed and are kept aside.
Some people even discuss it. Say, this one say she will not steal. Don't worry.
That's it. Because some spiritually and physically, because what is happening physically is already what has taken place in the spiritual realm. So people have already been controlled in the spiritual realm to challenge those good values of yours, to see whether you will fall. And what does the Bible say? It can only reward those who persevere. So that means in you keeping your value, you have to persevere. So perseverance is there. You have to persevere and say, this is my value and I'm keeping it, and nothing is breaking it. It doesn't mean that sometimes you don't get it wrong. Yes, sometimes you get it wrong. And when you get it wrong, that's when you find some people are being broken. As if the wall has ended in their own side. Why? Because that value that they hold so tight is being tempered.
They broke it thinking that, like, they are going to apparently, okay, let me just break this. For example, let me use a young lady that works in an organization, and as a young lady, you say, I will not have anything to do with any man in this place. Like, I will not be found having a relationship with a married man, for example. And then you find yourself in that organization and you work with a boss that is married, and then this person is saying, you're beautiful, I like you, I like to have something to do with you. And you're like, no, I can't do this. I'm a child of God, I'm a young lady. How do I go into a relationship with a married man? And this person's there and enticing you, buying gifts and all of that. And if okay, let me just going out once will not be a bad idea. And then you find yourself going out with this person, and from going out to start sleeping with this person, and eventually this person moves from you to another victim again. And then you are broken, you are pained, like because you have expectation that this should continue, or you should be seen as a superstar. Now you're seeing that this person's attention has diverted from you to another person, and like it becomes hurtful. You are filled with regret. In fact, why did you even compromise it at the first place? And like that's actually what comes with compromising of your values. And I tell you, if there's anything that you need to hold on to in this life, apart from your faith, like in God, your belief in God, is to stay by your values, like hold on to your values.
Because the beliefs comes with values.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Like, so it will be challenged. You will be ridiculed. You will be hurt because of that thing that you stand for. People have been denied promotion. People have been denied privileges because they refuse to compromise. Still hold on to. Just give it time. You know, there's something that is said about time. Whatever it is or whatever is happening, give it time. It will fade away. I've had my shares of challenges, especially when it comes to values. There was a time that I was damn broke. Like I had no money, and somebody's money fell. I don't know who the person was, and somebody saw it, and out of confidence, this person was like pile of 1,000 naira like that. I said, okay, a lot of money. This person now said, can you take this and then just look for who has this money? And I was like, hey, could this be answered prayer? Like in my mind. And while I was even discussing with a colleague, I was like, this might be our, like, it might be like answered prayer and all of that to breakthrough. Do you understand? Another thought came to, it's not your own. This person might not even be, like, you can't do this. You have to look for the owner. And like, I just had my peace back, because I was thinking, by the time you eat this money, like, you will live with the guilt. It's different that you look for who has it and you did not get. But this one, you didn't even attempt. That's theft. And no. So, like, I just said,
no go area.
like that. So it will be challenged, like you said. But of course, Prudence wants to say something.
Yeah. Let me say this quickly. You see, the reason why I said when it's not totally that when you hold on to certain principles, certain belief, it cannot be tempered, or you cannot fall short. That's why I made the statement that we are made perfect through Christ. You see, when some of your values are being tempered, because you find yourself in some certain tight corner that you just have to compromise. I know you can stand, but in some cases, you find that those people, those kind of people, they are really remorse, they are really broken. Like they just feel like no. The way they will cry, like, I mean, truly repent and tell God that I am sorry. I hold on to this, but I can't really say what came over me, and this thing just happened. And you will see a total turnaround.
True.
Why did I say that? You will not see these people going back because they have the share of the pain of what they go through by just breaking those values. And they will remain. You see the example you gave. That person already have already opened up. You can't say that person really have value because the person is just holding on to that he has value, because from just enticing, you go into relationship before the sleeping around with the person. And when you are hot, you are hot,
so
because
if you were not hot, you continue.
Do you
so there was no value in the first
there was no value in the first place. But you'll find out, just the example you made, I'm just trying to say this. Some women find themselves in tight corner because even the bosses came with threat.
Yeah.
Not even relationship, or enticing you with some valuable.
Sambo Solomon, there are people that decided, yes, I will leave the job. I don't have anything to go back to,
So
but it's fine.
So you see
And
that
at
kind
the
of
end
people.
of the day,
Yes.
they don't even, they are bosses, or they don't even end up like threatening or having anything to do with them, because they have noticed that this person stands for something, and this person will not compromise.
Yes.
And that is one thing about value. Like the example I gave was just one out of a lot.
Yes.
I've had instances that people will just say, compromise on this work now. You don't have to do it this excellent. We can just put it this way and everything will go. And you have to stand your ground. That's one thing about value.
Yeah.
And I've seen situations where people deliberately planned or did things to hurt me because I refuse to compromise on certain things. I'm not unaware, and before even the values, I am not unaware that things like people will fight it. So that's one thing about value. You should know that it differs. What you are holding on to, another person does not hold on to that thing. So it means that person can challenge you. So while you are having values, be open-minded that people will challenge you.
Yes.
People will call you names. So when it happens, you are not unaware, and then you still tell yourself, whatever will happen, let it happen. You already know where your values will take you to. And that is why some people will see, even in an office, when it comes to this person, is a no-go area, because they know that this person will never compromise. And when it comes to another person, they will say, don't worry, just buy. Like my grandma will say,
if it's for this, don't look for this. Look for.
My grandma was saying when the
Yes.
talk about pregnancy was everywhere, like young teenage pregnancy, and she said, I don't mind these girls. What these men do to them, they just buy bread and coke, and that is all. So it's like that's how some people are.
So
This
they
don't
cannot
mind
buy it
this
for
person.
themselves.
Yeah, don't mind this person.
I think
Let's just do this and that,
think
and
that-
this person will just compromise on the values.
Let
But
me-
values are just something that you should hold on to. Define
matter
them.
what,
I mean, we're talking about worth. We're talking about significance. Anything that has worth, anything that has significance, people will go after it.
Sure.
So that is why the footballer now that you talked about earlier, open check, they are looking for him. There are people that have built themselves today that organizations are looking for them. We gave example of that young lady, auditor. Like 3 organizations came for her. And they are working on her own terms. Why? Because of value.
Yes.
Because of significance. She said,
And they did not even see
Okay, I
passports.
that is
Yes.
one thing.
Joyce,
I think that is
quickly,
one thing, right?
Quickly, sorry, before you say, hold on, don't forget.
It's your turn today.
Earlier, they gave the guy an offer of one $1.2 billion US. And he said there's a way he sees his family. And his family said there's a place that they want to stay. They are comfortable. And because of the value that he placed on his family, he cannot threat his family for that amount wherever. And then for him, he feels him honoring them because they are part of him. And that's where that guy refused that amount. And now they are trying him with an open check again. This time around,
he should put the amount he wants.
The amount and give them the and tell them for how long he wants to stay.
Yeah. You know something that we fail to put into consideration when talking about values is that it makes the substance of who you are. You talk about David and say he's a man after God's heart and all that, but in the scriptures, I'm not sure there's anybody that was recorded as the most incomplete human being ever recorded in the scriptures, like David. David was a murderer. David was an adulterer at some point in his life. David was just a shepherding sheep's flocks. The smallness of David cannot be overemphasized. He was a very tiny being, but value kept him and made him what he was. Value is what made God to see him even amongst 7 brothers. It was him God saw, because he knew that this boy would hold his value. Even when he moves a little bit from, he will still come back on track because of what he has placed value on. And so when we talk about values, I remember an incident where my friends and I was always indoors. When they're saying they're going to do this event, that event in school, that time, I was always indoors. And then my friends came and said, "Why are you so boring? Why are you so antisocial?" I said, "I enjoy my me time. For me, it is fun. For me, it is social. My me time is part of my socialization time. Please, let me have my me time." And so it got, this whole FYB period, the hype, the joy, the emotions are just high and up there. And so friends are like, "This is a once in a lifetime thing. Won't you come out and just ease off?" Was I tempted? Yes. Did I want to go? Absolutely. The noise, the sound was something that I really wanted to be there. But I told myself, Prudence, if you go there, envision the possibilities of the things you would do if you go there, and how much they would work alongside your values. Then I told them, "No, you people should go and come back and meet me." By the time they came back, I was already sleeping. And the next morning, they said, "Why are you like this? This was a once in a lifetime thing. You have just come. Let's just enjoy ourselves for the first time and last time. It's cool for God's sake." And I told them, because my spirit did not let me go. That's another thing about values. It guides your work. It guides your attitude. It guides your decisions. In fact, for you to have value, it aids you to make decisions better. It helps you to make decisions regardless the situation that you find yourself. It is because you value your values. Specific. I'm going to say it again. It is because you value your values that you would reject a job offer just because that is not where your value lies.
Like the lady that came for orientation, and they were like, "You have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do this," and she just walked out. Not like she had another option, but she walked out because it conflicts with her value.
Exactly.
But a lot of times we just feel it's a one-time thing, and it becomes very detrimental. Like, in as much as we know that values are not static, but if you are sure it aligns with your belief, like, it should be something that is worth holding on, regardless of the stones that people throw at you. Like, you have a relationship with God, for example. There are people that don't compromise on their prayer time. time. They don't compromise on their study time. No matter what you offer to them, there are some that their family is what they prioritize. They have family time at 8 o'clock. They turn off their phone because for them that is something that they hold so dear to them. But you just have to let's just go. You just call and apologize. Like you don't. That it means you don't stand for anything. Why does value matter? Because it shapes who you are. It influences your decision, your choices. In relationship, a lot of people are having a swell time with their relationship, with their friendship, because they watched out for values. A lot of people are having conflict left, right, and center. Why? Because they didn't prioritize values. You just saw somebody and you start laughing with, you exchange number, you start meeting, hanging out. Tomorrow you are feeling that this is not me, I cannot do this. Arguments and fights and all of that. Like a young guy that, welcome special is like a tradition in the universities. So the welcome special was organized. Uncle, you don't do alcohol. And but peer pressure. Why are you taking water? You're taking water. I carry this thing from here. He now accepted to take it. After taking 1-2 bottles, next instead removing his trouser. Imagine that at 100 level you did that. That would be your story throughout the university time. He started pulling his trouser. His friends were trying to hold him. This guy removed his trouser. He did that because he compromised on his value. A lot of people are not trusted at their workplace today because they compromised on their values. Sometimes that your boss might just will be trying you. Let me see if this person will actually stand for. There's something in the bank they call integrity test. They will just send a customer to come with you and deposit over the money that they are supposed to deposit. If you decide to keep it, and because you think this person is just being stupid, he feels 20,000 and he gave me how much? He said 20, and you check it's 24,000. As small as 4,000, they can use it to test your integrity. You fail on that, and that is you just
and see
lose the job.
Our brothers of the other faith, if you go to buy something from them and it is time for their prayers,
you have to wait.
You will wait. If you cannot wait, you leave. Even if what you want to buy is in millions, they would do what they have to do first before they come to you. So value is like upholding what you believe in that is right. There's a saying, a wrong thing is a wrong thing even if everybody is doing it. And a right thing is a right thing even when nobody is doing it. So you need to have it at the back of your mind that if you are convinced and you know that it is the right thing, go on and continue doing it. The story you said, the question you asked about keeping your values in the workplace, even when those that are doing wrong are being applauded, you need to ask yourself question. In the first place, what I am doing, is it right? Yes. Is it what I am expected to do? Yes. Does it align with my values? Yes. Am I being appreciated? No. Continue doing it. You know why? Because probably God is trying to test you to see how well you would do here. To whom much is given, more is expected. He has more in stock for you, but he wants to see how you will behave under somebody, so that by the time you become your own CEO, you would know how to deal with those that are doing it wrongly. Now it is not in your place to meter any punishment or anything, but it is in your place to do the right thing. Even when somebody comes 4 hours behind time and he's being applauded, keep doing the right thing that you're expected to do. And in due time.
I want to add this quickly, right? We mentioned something about values and how you talked about how someone will find himself in a situation and this person begins to throw this at you, tell you this, tell you that. There is something about values. If you don't want to compromise on your values, don't entertain anything that would affect it. Don't even listen to it. If you are having a conversation with someone and it begins to infringe on move on your values, cut that conversation. I have had cause to tell people that I'm not going to engage you in this conversation because I know that if we continue this conversation, I'm going to go out of my values. So hold on. No, in fact, not hold on. Stop right there. And just go your way. Let me be on my own.
There are people that you just go MIA. You don't even say that. You just
tell them anything.
Don't entertain what would affect your values. Stay far from it. That's why the scriptures emphasize on some parts that he said, flee. It's not for any reason. It's because you can't compromise.
There's possibility of compromising.
With all the good that Jesus did for our sake, what was his result? His reward, rather. So just know that if you are following Christ and you are doing the right thing, don't expect that reward, that applaud.
Mm.
It may just end up the way Jesus, but be rest assured that your reward is great in heaven.
Thank you. It was a
Yeah.
great conversation
Thank
about
you.
values
Pleasure.
and how you need to hold on to it. And to our viewers out there, we hope and trust that you pick one or two things to help you in holding and standing up on your values. And in case you don't have values, know that values are those core principles that guides your choices, your behaviors, your relationship. Values actually matter and is really relevant in today's life. You can't go about without words, without significance, and it's not something that is anchored on other people's validation, but it's something you place on yourself, something you hold on to, something you stand for. And we hope that you are going to have, in case you don't, you define your values and stick to it. We'll come your way tomorrow, same time. You have a blessed day. Bye-bye.